Hello and welcome to Fair Rugby on Fair Sport. With something a little bit different, going to be doing a bit of a predicted lineup video. Unfortunately, my new show earlier was cut a little bit short, and I didn't get to really sort of go into exactly what I wanted to see, or what I think we might see this weekend in terms of the Springbok team that will be announced tomorrow. For Argentina, it is at Emirates Airline Park. We're up in Johannesburg, back at altitude, and it'll be interesting to see which players are involved, which players get the weekend off, which players will then be on a flight to Argentina next week in their final World Cup, final game before the World Cup squad is officially announced. After that, we will then have two World Cup warm-up matches against New Zealand and Wales before we then begin our campaign against Scotland in September. So it's getting quite real now, isn't it? It's less than 50 days until the World Cup kicks off. And, certain players I think have obviously already sort of booked their spots. Other players very much still on the fringes, really, and not quite sure whether they will be on the plane or not. They've got very little opportunity to do so. So before I go exactly to sort of my predicted 23 and where I think things could be a bit different or could be quite similar to what I sort of predicted, please do smash the like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Now, so basically what I've done is I've kind of looked at a team which I think ticks a few boxes. Now, the boxes I'd like to tick, first of all, for me is game time. That, for me, is the most important box to tick. And for that reason, I do think there could be a couple of changes compared to what I've sort of gone with. But I've also we've seen reports and rumors about circulating from, supposed inside sources. So you can't sort of ignore that sort of the fact that there isn't a little bit of murmurings about certain players getting the nod. I do think that game time is very important. I think especially for a lot of the players based in Japan who haven't played in a while, I think they need to get out there and need to get playing again. But I think there's also certain players who have played a lot and maybe not have had the best game. We don't need to worry too much about game time for them. They've been around the system. They've been around a lot. But at the end of the day, we still need to win the game. We still need to start building momentum. Yes, I think game time and performance is probably the most important thing right now. But you can't go into the World Cup on the back of 2 or 3 defeats in your last sort of 4 games. So at the moment we're 1 for 1. We want to become 2 for 1 this weekend. Because that trip to Argentina will be tough, and then ideally you really need to go and beat the All Blacks and Wales to go take that sort of momentum into the World Cup. So this is what I think something could look a little bit like this weekend. So where are some of the major changes? Now, first of all, Steven Kitsov has played a lot in the last 2 weeks. I'd like to see him get given the day off. I also think we need to look at other options in Thomas Toy and Trevor Nyakane off the bench. I think Thomas Toy at the moment, it's all of a sudden become quite important to the box, given the fact that Oxenshare is a little bit touch and go. And as a result, I'd like to see him start because Steven Kitsov generally has played off the bench in a sort of a bomb squad role. And so, if that is going to be the case for him, for example, we need to then see, well, can Thomas Toy be doing a role off the bench? So, yeah, I've gone with him there at Lucia. I've gone with Bongi Manambi because I think that we will play. I think Joseph Debo will start next week against Argentina. I wouldn't mind seeing Joseph Debo starting this weekend with Bongi Manambi off the bench. I don't think Malcolm Marx getting game time is particularly important. I think that he's a player that is playing so well at the moment that he doesn't really need to get too much game time in. But it wouldn't surprise me if they do go with him off the bench this weekend. It's a bit of a fail safe. A lot of combinations. I'd like to see Eben Etzebeth next to Marvin Orie. I think that we might see that. I think Marvin Orie not going to New Zealand means that he's fresh. Etzebeth, I think, will want to play again, given the fact that he is still coming back from injury. But also at the same time, I don't think they'll want to take him over to Argentina. I think that they'll then probably look at giving Jean Caden a go. And I think Luis Diago starts in Argentina. I think Marco Verstappen probably earned himself another start. Again, it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't play this weekend. And they went with Quacker Smith, but I'd like to see more Quacker Smith. I do think that this loose trio of Marco Verstappen, PSF, Toy Dwayne Firmino will suit Quacker Smith a lot better, as we saw against New Zealand. So I quite almost like to see him start. But I do think that after that performance from Marco Verstappen, they might give him another go to sort of see what's going on. I think that Dion Fourie, for whatever reason, I don't know if he's still back in the mix. It wouldn't surprise me if he's on the bench instead of Quacker Smith, for example. I do think we'll see him next weekend. I think Jaden Hendricks starts. I think if he's back to full fitness and he's ready to go, box management have generally started players coming back into the mix instead of sort of getting them off the bench. So I do think that he'll start. And I think he'll start next to MANIE LIBBOK. Apparently, that is the chat going around that LIBBOK has been given another opportunity at 10. What would be interesting is to see if he'll get another opportunity next weekend and whether they've now decided, no, you know what, we actually need to give MANIE as many games of 10 as possible. David Vincent will be our player 23 and will come off the bench, but potentially MANIE actually might be the second choice, 10 all of a sudden, and as a result, you need to give him game time. The rumours are that Kurt Lawrence will be in the mix. I wouldn't mind seeing Pimpy again. I do think that we need a bit of game time. I think we need to see exactly what Pimpy's about at the moment before we sort of make that call in a big game between him and Kurt Lawrence. Apparently, Andre Esterhuizen, there's rumours that he's going to play. I wouldn't mind seeing Damon Delaney play again because I do think that, first of all, I think Andre Esterhuizen can play again next weekend. I think that Damon Delaney needs game time quite desperately, so I think it'll be a good idea to play him this weekend. But apparently, I'm hearing that Esterhuizen's going to play. Similarly, I'm hearing that Jesse Creel's going to play, which I think it's a good idea as well. I think Lekanya has had 2 pretty average games, not quite at his very high standards. So it'll be a good opportunity to give him a bit of time off. And give him hopefully maybe just another really sort of hard training week and try and see if they can get him up to full speed. Chisholm Colby was in the press conference today, as was Francois Herbert, which is why I expected them both to be involved. And I think Villiers at the moment is making himself far too important to be left on the bench. I think Damian Vincent might get a go at 15 next weekend. Off the bench, I think Malcolm Marks, I think you have to see Trevor Nyakane this weekend. I think we'll continue to see Vincent Koch. I don't think we'll see Gerard Stennekamp maybe next weekend. I think Archie Sneman will continue to sort of get some minutes under his belt. Franco Moss, I think, needs minutes under his belt. So does Lou Diaga. So, yeah, I think between the 3 of them, they a lot. I mean, I think that Archie Sneman and Franco Moss play this weekend. I think Lou Diaga should start next weekend, maybe even next to Archie Sneman. And then Kwaka Smith off the bench, I think they'll want another fetcher there. And then I think Faf de Klerk will come off the bench with David Willems. So I think that, again, you want to try and get a bit more time into Faf de Klerk. I think next weekend will be reserved for Kobus Reinach and probably a Grant Williams maybe again, or Jaden Hendricks again if they want to give him more game time. We need to start whittling down to our 3 scrum halves, so not a lot of time to do that. So that's what I've gone with. What changes would you make? Again, as I said, I think there are quite a few of these which are up in the air. I'm pretty convinced about that halfback pairing. I do think they'll want to try and start Jaden. I do think the likes of Etzebeth's going to play. I do think that Colby's going to play. I'm not sure about the loose trio. I think Peter Seth, Toy, and Dwayne Vermeulen will start. I don't think they'll go to Argentina. But again, who knows? We'll find out tomorrow. Let me know what changes you'd make and what your reasoning is for those changes. Let me know down in the comments below. Smash like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven. I'll chat to you soon.